As much as everyone doesn't want to talk about Doug Peterson, we're doing an awful lot of talking about him. And I'm doing an awful lot of talking about this guy. And just want to make a couple quick points about his press conference today. Very, very good press conference, I think. I think it was a lot better than Chip Kelly's when Chip Kelly came in. A good, solid 45 minutes of good talking, good points, very good questions being asked, very challenging questions being asked. I'd like to emphasize the challenging questions. And Doug Peterson, he didn't choke up. He did what he had to do. He said what he had to say, and I absolutely am very impressed with it. Not that my opinion really matters, because I'm just a YouTube kid who loves the Philadelphia Eagles. But anyway, like I said, press day. He came in. Jeffrey Lurie spoke for a little bit, talking about why he chose him or whatever. They introduced Doug Peterson, and there's just a couple things, obviously, that I want to talk about. If you did watch it, or listen to it, or whatever. Obviously, the biggest news: we hired Doug Peterson as our head coach. But what I think is more important is that we hired Jim Schwartz as our defensive coordinator. We announced him as our defensive coordinator. Now, if you don't know Jim Schwartz, he spent a lot of years with the Lions as their head coach. He spent a lot of years with the Tennessee Titans as their defensive coordinator. And he spent the 2014 season with Buffalo Bills. And he's he's gifted coach when it comes to defense. I mean, the 2004 Buffalo Bills were ranked first and second, pretty much everything on the defensive side. I would know I had Buffalo Bills defense for my fantasy league, and they were constantly scoring me points. Not so much this year, but the fact that we have Jim Schwartz as our defensive coordinator is an absolute gift. And when Doug Peterson announced it, I was jumping up and down. It was awesome. So we'll see what really happens about that. Like I said, he has a lot of experience coaching, and I also read an article on Jim Schwartz saying he's looking to train the Eagles defense to what they should be. He said he's watched them, and he said, they belong. They belong in the top 5 defenses in the league, and I don't know how we're gonna do that, but like I said, Jim Schwartz is also very determined because he wants to hold the trophy, and I'm pretty sure all of us do too. So that's huge news. It's awesome news. The second news, which I'm not really happy about, but pretty much it's safe to say that Sam Bradford's going to be our starting quarterback next year, and I'm just irritated about that. Just the way that Peterson talked about it and said how much he likes Sam Bradford, how much he's grown over the years, and even Jeffrey Lurie was saying things like he did so much better this year or whatever, and I just don't see it. I don't know if you call 4,300 passing yards and 18 touchdowns and 18 interceptions for the year impressive, because I sure as hell don't. Obviously, it's better than what I can possibly do, but Doug Peterson said he's a top-notch quarterback, and he definitely has what it takes to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. There's plenty of starting quarterbacks in the NFL that are very, very average and very, very generic. But it also comes like, let's put it this way. You take Sam Bradford's numbers and you compare them to Blake Bortles or Ryan Tannehill. I just compared their numbers today. Ryan Tannehill and Blake Bortles both have more passing yards than Sam Bradford, and they pretty much beat Sam. They're pretty much even with Sam Bradford or beat him by a little bit. and every category besides sacks. I think Sam Bradford's only gotten sacked like 28 to 30 times this year, which is pretty good, which is halfway decent compared to, I think Bortles was sacked about 40 times, and I believe Tannehill was sacked, I think, 50-something. But the thing is that Tannehill is a very accurate quarterback. He constantly gets you 200 yards a game. And Blake Bortles he's a young quarterback, but he's a really good arm, and he knows how to throw the football. So, I mean, you can look at guys, even if you look at the rookie class this year, like Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, they both still did better, and Mariota was out half the year with an injury. So, I wouldn't call Sam Bradford an elite quarterback or on top of his game right now. I've preached it, his durability, his conditioning, his overall health in general, and that's the main thing, I honestly think. And a big reason why Tannehill and Bortles have such better numbers is because they have better people to throw to. I mean, you look at Jacksonville, they have Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, TJ Yeldon out of the backfield. They have so many good players they can throw to. And, if you look at the Eagles wide outs and stuff, you see Jordy Matthews, Riley Cooper, Nelson Aguilar, not really big names. Jordy Matthews is great, obviously, but he drops the ball a lot. Aguilar, he was hurt a lot of this year. And he was our rookie coming out, and we expected him to do big things, but you never know. They're either hit or miss with our rookies. But I was really hoping we'd go for a quarterback in the draft. We have the 13th pick in the draft. There's got to be a halfway decent quarterback that's going to be out there at that time. I read a lot of the mock drafts. They're saying we're going defense in this draft. We want to go for either a linebacker or a free safety, and I kind of wish we went for a quarterback instead. But you never know, obviously. Doug Peterson said he's going to evaluate Sam Bradford and see what he wants to do. Otherwise, a press conference, like I said, a lot of challenging questions. They actually challenged Peterson on his play calling in the last possession in the Kansas City game, and he answered every question really well, and so did Jeffrey Lurie. And neither one of them got hot-headed or and stuff like that. Everyone was asking pretty shitty questions. Whether it was, pretty much everyone was saying, do you really feel like Sam Bradford's our quarterback? Or are we switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3 defense this year? And, what's our offense going to look like? Because we don't have an offensive coordinator as of right now. I don't know. They said they're going to be interviewing this week or something. And there was a guy that really, really ticked me off and asking questions. He was talking about, he was saying, Chip Kelly was given all the reins to, for player development and the 90-man roster, the 53-man roster, and how he had complete control over players and the development of the team. And Jeffrey Lurie said, we're not going to discuss this until we find someone that is going to be, the guy. I'm not going to pick somebody until I know I have a guy. And the guy was egging him on and egging him, breaking his ball, saying, but who's going to be the guy as of right now? And then when you do get that guy, who's going to be he just kept going on. And Jeffrey Lurie was saying, listen, man, how he kept his cool is awesome. Dude, just shut up about it. Who cares, Last year it was Chip Kelly, and look what happened. He got rid of all of our good players. What do you think? You think Jeffrey Lurie's gonna have one guy be held accountable like he did with Chip Kelly? Absolutely not. I think Jeffrey Lurie learned his lesson by giving everything to Chip Kelly, because guess what? Two of our best players in LaShawn McCoy and Jeremy Maclin were off the team. And the year before that, Deshaun Jackson was taken off the team, as bad as he's been, but he was an awesome wide receiver. So I can honestly, until we find someone that can actually play that part, obviously they're not going to discuss it because they just don't want to. And I hate that about people. I really, really do. I hate when people ask these guys all these questions. In reality, we answered the question 3 times, and they want to nag it on and nag it on and nag it on. Another awesome point that I didn't know about. I mean, I knew, but I'm a younger kid. I'm turning 25 the end of this month, and Doug Peterson's from Philly. He played in Philly, and he said when he was coaching as the offensive quality control coach or whatever, there's still guys on the team like Peters and Brent Selleck, and all these guys. So I think that's actually kind of cool but he knows Philly really well. Like he said, his sons grew up there, and he set up, he was saying how his kids graduated there and how his kids are, the transition and everything. I think that's also going to be a good factor because he was already in Philly, and he already knows the scheme. He knows the ins and outs of most of it. Obviously being the head coach, working under Andy Reid. So I think that's pretty cool. He can go into Lincoln Financial Field in the off season and say, "Hey, I'm really familiar with this." And everyone's like, "What was your decision, Jeffrey Lurie, on hiring Doug Peterson when you had all these other candidates?" And I believe Jeffrey Lurie when he says, the fact that Doug Peterson is so well known and just he's familiar. He's a familiar face. Sorry, needed my coffee. He's a familiar face. There's plenty of people that we could have hired. Honestly, like I said, I don't know why. I don't know this. He was talking about why he specifically hired Doug Peterson, or why he specifically hired, or why he specifically went to him before everybody else. And I guess we'll really never know why he did. I mean, Tom Coughlin was. I mean, I would much rather have taken Tom Coughlin a week ago, or Hugh Jackson, or Adam Gase, or any of those players. Any of those coaches. But Doug Peterson's our coach now, and we're going to be talking about it all off season. And the biggest thing that came out of this press conference that I personally, in my opinion, is the fact that we hired Jim Schwartz. And I don't know, I can't find anything on it, but I really hope Billy Davis is out of Philadelphia completely. I hope he's not booted down to the line coach or something crazy, but I can't find anything on it. So I'm going to hunt more tonight on it. But Jim Schwartz hired. Great press conference. Excellent day. We're going to go. Free agency starts pretty soon. Not pretty soon. A couple months, actually. But we'll have all our, we're going to have a lot more meetings and a lot more nonsense coming up. But keep you guys all updated. And have a good night. And go Birds.